For years, the galaxy had burned with battle. Planets fell. Cities turned to ash. Billions died. And at the center of it all was her, the Tyrellian queen, Elaraxa. She was the most feared ruler in the galaxy. With her psychic powers, she commanded her armies with just a thought. Her voice alone could make weaker species bow in fear. But now, the queen was a prisoner. She sat alone in a sealed glass room on a quiet moon, a place once used for research, now turned into a prison. The Galactic Concord, a group of species trying to bring peace, held her here. They didn't know what to do with her. Some wanted to study her, others wanted to punish her. None dared go too close, because Elaraxa flinched. Any time someone entered the room, she would pull away, no matter who it was. Scientists, guards, even peaceful ambassadors. She would press herself into the corner like a frightened animal. She never spoke, never attacked, just silence and fear. It was hard to believe this was the same queen who once ordered planets to be destroyed. Her skin, once bright and shining, had faded to a dull silver blue. Her crown was gone. Her sharp black eyes, once full of fire, now stared into the floor, empty and tired. The Concord called for help. They needed someone new, someone different. That's when they sent the human. Dr. Mara Kessler was not a soldier. She didn't wear armor. She didn't carry a weapon. She was a trauma specialist from Earth. Her job was to help minds that had been broken by war. She had worked with wounded soldiers, refugees, even war criminals, but never with an alien queen. When she first saw Elaraxa, Mara was surprised. There was no anger in the queen's eyes, only fear, deep fear. The queen didn't look at her. She didn't speak. She didn't move. But she didn't flinch. Mara entered slowly, her hands open to show peace. The guards stood ready outside. Elaraxa raised her eyes just slightly. Her body tensed. Then, nothing. No flinch. No retreat. Mara sat down across from her, calm and quiet. "I'm not here to hurt you," she said softly. No reply. But still, no fear. Mara smiled gently. "You're the first patient I've had who ruled an empire," she said, half joking. For a brief second, something flickered in the queen's eyes. Not fear, something else. Curiosity. Mara took out a warm cup of nutrient broth and placed it on the ground between them. Then she waited. No rush, no questions, just silence. And for the first time in many weeks, Queen Elaraxa looked at someone and didn't look away. News of the humans' arrival spread quickly through the Concord facility. Most didn't believe it at first, the human. With her madness, they said. The Tyrellian queen was too dangerous, too unstable. Even now, in her silent state, everyone feared her. Strong alien guards wore full armor near her cell. Doctors kept their distance. No one touched her. No one dared. But the human, Dr. Mara Kessler, walked in alone. No fear in her eyes. No weapons in her hands. She returned again the next day. And the next. Each time, Queen Elaraxa watched her enter. The human would sit down quietly, always in the same spot, and speak in a soft, calm voice. Mara never asked questions at first. She talked about small things. The weather on Earth, the sound of rain, the way her little brother used to play hide and seek. Simple memories, told like a bedtime story. The queen never replied, but she listened. No one else saw it, but Mara did. The slight tilt of the head, the way Elaraxa's fingers stopped shaking when Mara spoke. It was small, but it meant something. Then one day, everything changed. Mara entered the room holding something new, a small plant. It was green, fresh, with tiny purple flowers. It came from Earth, from a quiet forest Mara used to visit. "I thought you might like this," she said, setting it down near Elaraxa. The queen looked at the plant, then at Mara, and for the first time she moved. Very slowly, Elaraxa reached out her hand. Her long fingers touched the leaves, gently, like a whisper. Her skin brushed the petals. Then she looked at Mara. No fear, no anger, just silence and something soft. Trust. Outside the glass walls, the guards watched in shock. One whispered. She didn't flinch. Mara smiled, her voice calm. You're not alone anymore. The moment didn't last long. Elyraxa pulled her hand back and turned away again. But it was too late. Something had changed. A door had opened. The Concord leaders took notice. Some were hopeful. Others were angry. She's just pretending, one said. This is a trick, said another. But one old ambassador from a peaceful waterworld spoke slowly. No, this is not a trick. The Queen flinched from all of us, but not from the human. That means something. That night, Mara sat outside the chamber, writing notes. She doesn't respond to anyone else, but she listens to me. When I speak, she calms down. When I move slowly, she doesn't pull away. Today, she touched a flower for the first time. She is still in pain. But there is something deeper in her, something waiting. She paused, then wrote one more line. I think she wants to be saved. Dr. Mara Kessler continued her visits. Every morning, she walked through the silent halls of the research station. Every day, she sat across from the Tsarelian Queen. No guards followed her inside now. Even the Concord staff had begun to respect the space between them. But still, the Queen did not speak. She watched, listened, and sometimes copied Mara's movements. If Mara sat with her legs crossed, Elyraxa slowly did the same. If Mara tilted her head in thought, so did the Queen. It was like a mirror, a quiet dance, but no words, no voice. To the others, this seemed useless. She's wasting time, said a scientist. The Queen is playing games, said a soldier. But Mara saw it differently. She's building trust, Mara replied. Her silence is not a wall to block us. It's a shield to protect herself. And she's lowering it, piece by piece. One day, Mara brought in a softball, something used in therapy. She gently rolled it across the floor to Elyraxa. The Queen watched it stop by her feet. Slowly, she picked it up, felt its soft surface, then rolled it back. Mara smiled. It was a small thing, but to her, it was huge. She responded. The next session, Mara told a story. It was about a young girl who got lost in a forest and was afraid of the dark. She described how the girl had to face her fear alone, how she cried and screamed, but no one came. Until one day, someone did. Not a hero, not a warrior, just a person who sat beside her and held her hand. When the story ended, Elyraxa's lips moved. No sound came, but Mara saw it. Words forming, too quiet to hear. Did you say something? Mara asked gently. The Queen's eyes lowered. Her fingers clenched. Her body tensed, as if afraid she had made a mistake. Mara didn't press. She only smiled. It's okay. I heard enough. That evening, she wrote in her journal. She wanted to speak today. I saw it. She's fighting something inside. Something heavy. Fear, maybe. Guilt. Or pain. But she's trying. The others still see her as a weapon, but I see a prisoner, locked inside her own mind. Later, a Concord officer visited Mara's room. You're the only one she shows signs of trust toward. Why do you think that is? Mara thought for a moment. Because I don't treat her like a queen or an enemy. I treat her like a person. The officer nodded but said nothing. Back in her chamber, Queen Elyraxa sat alone, holding the soft ball in her hands. For the first time, her expression was not blank. Her fingers traced the surface again and again, like it brought her some kind of comfort. The walls of silence were still up, but they were cracking. Dr. Mara Kessler walked down the long corridor of the Concord facility, holding a small bag. The guards at the chamber door nodded. They didn't ask questions anymore. Everyone knew by now, if anyone could reach the Tsarelian Queen, It was the human. Inside the glass room, Queen Elaraxa sat in her usual spot, legs folded, back straight, hands resting on her knees. She didn't look up when Mara entered, but her breathing changed, slightly softer, calmer. Mara sat down and pulled a small music player from her bag. She pressed a button. Soft piano music filled the room. The notes floated gently through the air. "It's called music," Mara said. "Human music. Some say it speaks when words cannot." Elarax's eyes slowly turned toward her. She listened. Her fingers twitched in rhythm with the sound. Minutes passed in silence. Then the queen spoke. One word. "Why?" Mara looked up, surprised. It was the first real word Elaraxa had spoken since her capture. "Why?" "What?" Mara asked gently. Elarax's voice was low and shaky. "Why are you kind to me?" Mara took a slow breath. Her heart pounded, but she kept her voice calm. "Because I see someone who's hurting," she said. "Not a queen, not a war leader, just someone who needs help." Elaraxa stared at her, confused. "I destroyed worlds. I led armies. I brought death." "Yes," Mara said honestly. "You did, but you're still alive. That means you have a chance to choose something different now." The queen looked away. "Others fear me." "I don't," Mara replied. "Why?" Mara slowly reached out her hand, palm open. "Because I don't believe fear heals anything." Elaraxa stared at the hand. Her body stiffened. Her mind screamed to pull back. But she didn't move. She reached out. Her fingers touched Mara's. It was only for a second, but the moment felt long. Energy passed between them, not physical, but something deeper. Elarax's hand trembled. She had been touched before, but only with violence. Shackles, chains, attacks. This was different. Warm, gentle, real. Elaraxa quickly pulled her hand back, not in fear, but in shock. Her eyes were wide. For the first time, she wasn't sure what to feel. "I don't understand," she whispered. "You don't have to," Mara said with a small smile. "Just feel it." That night, Mara wrote in her journal. "Today," she asked why, and she let me touch her. The Queen of Fear let me in, only for a moment, but it was real. Her voice is soft. Her eyes carry sorrow. She's more human than she knows. In her chamber, Elaraxa lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Her fingers brushed the spot where Mara had touched her. And for the first time since the war ended, she didn't flinch. Her body rested, but her mind was full of memories. Dark, painful, and sharp like broken glass. She saw burning cities, screaming voices, and the empty faces of her soldiers. But the worst part wasn't what she had done. It was what she had felt. She had felt everything. In the Cerealian Empire, the royal caste was born with psychic power. Their minds were linked to their armies. When Elaraxa gave an order, her thoughts moved through thousands of soldiers. She didn't need radios. She was the command. But there was a price. Every cry of pain, every final breath, every moment of terror from her soldiers returned to her. She felt it all. Every death came back into her own mind, like a scream that never ended. It had broken her. And now, even in peace, the echoes remained. That morning, Mara noticed the change. Elarax's eyes were red and tired. Her body looked heavier, like she was carrying something invisible. "You didn't sleep," Mara said softly. The queen nodded. "Dreams?" Mara asked. "Memories," Elaraxa replied. Mara sat down beside her, closer than usual. There was silence for a while. Then Elaraxa spoke again, slowly. "My people believed I was strong, untouchable, but I was always screaming inside." Mara listened quietly. "I felt every death," the queen continued. "When my soldiers killed, I felt the fear of the enemy. When they died, I felt their pain. All of it lived in me." Mara's heart ached. "That's why you flinched. Not because you were afraid of others, but because you were already full of pain. Ilaraxa turned her head, surprised. No one had understood that before. Yes, she whispered. Mara gently placed a hand on her shoulder. The queen didn't pull away. You were made into a weapon, Mara said, but you didn't choose that. No, Ilaraxa said, her voice shaking. But I used it. I hurt so many. You were trying to protect your people, Mara said, but you forgot to protect yourself. Ilaraxa looked down at her hands, once used to control minds, destroy planets, and command armies. I don't know who I am without war, she admitted. Mara smiled. Then let's find out together. Later that night, Ilaraxa sat alone, eyes closed. This time, when the memories came, she didn't push them away. She allowed herself to feel the pain, not as a queen, not as a weapon, but as a person. And slowly, the weight began to lift. Back in her journal, Mara wrote. Today, she shared her truth, the psychic pain, the weight of every life lost. She was never just a leader. She was a prisoner of her own mind. But now, she's trying to be free. One word, one memory, one moment at a time. And in the glass chamber, Queen Ilaraxa, once feared across the stars, sat quietly, learning how to live again. Dr. Mara Kessler kept visiting the glass room, just like before. But things had changed now. Queen Ilaraxa no longer sat in silence. She asked questions. She listened closely. Sometimes she even smiled. Her voice was still soft, her words careful, but they were hers. One morning, Mara brought a small object in her hand, a broken crown. It was made of metal, dull and bent. Not real gold, not from Ilaraxa's empire, but a child's toy, a symbol. I found this in the old storage room, Mara said, reminded me of someone. Ilaraxa stared at the crown for a long time. Her eyes darkened. I wore one once, she said. Heavy, sharp. It cut me every time I moved. But I could never take it off. Mara placed the toy crown on the floor between them. You don't have to wear anything now, she said. You get to choose who you are. Ilaraxa looked confused. I do not understand choice. In my world, you are born into duty, into war. Mara nodded. But this is a new world now. Peace gives us the power to change. The queen lowered her gaze. Then, who am I without my title? Mara smiled gently. Maybe we start with a name. A real one. Not a title. Something that belongs only to you. Ilaraxa was quiet. No one had ever asked her that. Even as a child, she was called Hair or High One, never by a personal name. She closed her eyes. For a moment, her thoughts drifted far away, to a memory she had buried. When I was young, she whispered, my caretaker used to call me Lyra, only in private. Mara's smile grew warmer. It's beautiful. Ilaraxa repeated the name softly, like trying to remember how it felt on her tongue. Lyra. And for the first time, she didn't sound like a queen. She sounded like a person. Outside the chamber, the Concord Council watched from behind the glass. Their faces were mixed with doubt and disbelief. She's letting go of her title, one officer said. Can we trust that? Maybe we never needed to trust the queen, another replied. Maybe we only needed to reach the woman underneath. That evening, Ilaraxa, now Lyra, sat with Mara as the stars blinked outside the chamber. Do you miss your home? She asked. Sometimes, Mara said, but healing others feels like home too. Lyra looked thoughtful. Then maybe I can learn to heal too. You already are, Mara said. And there, in the quiet of a once cold prison, something powerful happened. The queen's crown had been broken. But in its place, a new name had been born. Lyra. A name not of fear, but of hope. The bond between Mara and Lyra grew stronger each day. Lyra laughed now, softly, but real. She asked about Earth, oceans, and what snow felt like. Mara showed her videos of children playing, birds flying, and art painted with human hands. Lyra was amazed. She had never seen life beyond war and duty. But not everyone was happy. Deep inside the Concord facility, angry voices whispered behind closed doors. "She's too dangerous," said a councilman. "She's manipulating the human," said a security chief. "We can't forget what she did. Planets were destroyed. Billions died." One commander, General Voss, stepped forward. His face was cold, his eyes sharp like steel. "She's pretending to be weak. But it's all a trick. We wait too long, and she'll strike again." "She hasn't shown any aggression," Mara argued in the next council meeting. "She's changing. She even gave up her name as queen. She wants peace." But the room remained quiet. "Hope is good," said Voss, "but caution keeps us alive." Mara clenched her fists. Killing her won't fix the past. It will only stop the future from healing. No decision was made that day, but the tension grew. That night, Lyra noticed Mara seemed distant. "Something troubles you," she said. Mara didn't hide the truth. "Some people still don't trust you. They think you're pretending." Lyra looked down. "I understand. I wouldn't trust me either." "But I do," Mara said. "Why?" "Because the person in front of me now is not the same one from the war." Lyra sighed. "I want to do more than change. I want to make things right, but I don't know how." Mara placed her hand gently on Lyra's. "We'll find a way. Together." But danger was already moving. That same night, General Voss made a secret order. He sent a small unit to Lyra's chamber with one goal: remove the threat before it was too late. They came silently, weapons ready. But Mara was still there. When the door opened, she stood between Lyra and the guards. "What are you doing?" she shouted. "We're stopping a monster," one soldier replied coldly. "She's not a monster," Mara yelled. "She's trying to change." Lyra stood behind her, not moving, not raising her hands to fight. She looked at the soldiers, not with hate, but with sadness. "I will not hurt you," she said quietly. But the soldiers didn't care. They raised their weapons. Before they could fire, alarms blared across the facility. The Concord Council had been alerted. A senior ambassador arrived just in time, with full authority. "Stand down," he shouted. "There will be no killing tonight." The soldiers froze. Voss's plan had failed. Mara turned to Lyra, breathing hard. "I'm so sorry." Lyra gave a sad smile. "They fear me. But you stood for me." After the attack, security around Lyra's chamber doubled. Mara was allowed in, but only under watch. The room that once felt open and quiet now felt like a cage again. Lyra noticed the change. "I thought they were beginning to trust me," she said. "They're scared," Mara replied. "But fear doesn't mean the truth has changed." Lyra looked down at her hands. "I didn't fight back, Mara. I didn't even raise my voice. Yet still, they see the queen in me. You did the bravest thing of all." Mara said gently, "You stayed peaceful." There was a long silence. Then, Lyra looked up. "Let me speak to them." Mara blinked. "To the council?" "Yes," Lyra said firmly. "If they are afraid of my voice, then they should hear it, not as a weapon, but as a promise." The next day, Mara made the request. The Concord Council gathered in a large room, many looking doubtful, some openly hostile. General Voss sat at the end of the table, arms crossed, jaw tight. The doors opened. 2 guards escorted Lyra in. She wore simple clothes, not royal robes. No armor, no crown, just Lyra. She stood tall, but not proud. Her hands were at her sides, open, calm. "I thank you for allowing me to speak," she said, her voice clear. "We're listening," said the chairwoman. "Go ahead." Lyra looked around the room, meeting every pair of eyes. "I once ruled through fear. I led armies. I believed I was protecting my people. but I became blind to the pain I caused. I let the voice of war speak for me. She paused. But now, I choose a different voice. Some members shifted uncomfortably. Others leaned forward. I do not ask for forgiveness, Lyra continued. I only ask for a chance to help rebuild what was broken, to understand peace, to live, not command. I want to be more than what I was made to be. She turned slightly toward Mara, then back to the council. This human showed me what mercy looks like, what kindness feels like. She saw me, not the queen, not the enemy. Just me. If even one person can do that, perhaps others can too. She stepped back. I will accept whatever decision you make. But know this, I will never go back to what I was. The room was silent. Then one councilman spoke. Why should we believe you now? Lyra didn't flinch. Because I had the power to kill your soldiers. But I didn't. Not because I was weak, but because I chose not to. That answer hung in the air like thunder. Later that night, the council gathered in private. She's not the same creature from the war, said one. She could help bring peace, said another. She's still a risk, Voss argued. We're gambling with lives. But no one agreed with him this time. In her chamber, Lyra sat beside Mara. What happens now? She asked. Mara smiled. They're thinking. And that's the first step to change. Days passed with quiet tension. Some members wanted to keep Lyra locked away. Others hoped she could be a symbol of peace. Mara stayed by Lyra's side, holding her hand through long talks and sleepless nights. One afternoon, the council summoned Mara and Lyra to the main chamber. The room was large and bright. Around the table sat leaders from many planets, their faces serious but hopeful. The chairwoman stood and spoke. We have listened to Lyra's words. We have seen the changes. We believe there is a chance. A sudden alarm cut through the room. The walls shook. Everyone froze. Outside, the lights blinked red. A warning flashed on the main screen. Attack, a voice shouted. Pirate ships approaching. Panic spread. The peace talks were interrupted. Lyra's eyes sharpened. Pirates, from the outer systems. They seek to take advantage of our moment of weakness. Mara stood beside her. We must act. Together. The council members looked to Lyra. She was no longer a prisoner. She was their leader now, in this moment. Lyra stepped forward. I will negotiate with them. We will not fight if we can avoid it. But you don't trust them, Mara whispered. I don't trust anyone, Lyra said quietly. But sometimes peace means taking risks. Outside the station, the pirate ships hovered like dark shadows. Lyra's voice broadcasted over all channels. This is Lyra, former queen of Xerelia. We offer peace. Turn your ships away, and no harm will come to you. For a long moment, silence. Then, a reply. We know who you are, Queen. Why should we listen to you now? Lyra took a deep breath. Because I am no longer your enemy. I am a bridge, not a weapon. The pirates hesitated. Finally, their leader spoke. We will meet you, but if this is a trap, we will not hesitate. The meeting was tense. Lyra stood face to face with the pirate captain, both strong and proud, but also weary. Slowly, they talked. Not about war, not about demands, but about hope. Back in the chamber, Mara watched as Lyra negotiated with courage. Her heart swelled with pride. Lyra was changing the story. No longer a queen who flinched from every touch, but a leader who chose connection over fear. After hours, the pirates agreed to leave peacefully. The alarm stopped. The council sighed with relief. Later that night, Lyra and Mara sat together under the stars. Today, you saved many lives, Mara said softly. Lyra smiled tiredly. I only did what I should have done long ago. Mara shook her head. No, you did what only you could do. Lyra looked at her with something like hope. Maybe I'm more than a queen after all. The days after the pirate attack were calm but full of change. The Concord Council had made a decision. Lyra would no longer be held prisoner. She was free to walk the halls, speak with leaders, and help rebuild peace across the galaxy. It was the start of something new. One morning, Mara found Lyra standing by a large window, looking at the stars. "Do you believe this is really happening?" Mara asked. Lyra smiled softly. "Sometimes it feels like a dream, but it's real." Mara stepped closer. "What will you do now?" Lyra looked at her. "I will learn about peace, kindness, and what it means to be free." Mara nodded. "And you won't be alone." "No," Lyra said. "Because of you." Over the next weeks, Lyra met with many leaders, humans, aliens, and those who once feared her. She listened more than she spoke. She asked questions. She showed she had changed. Slowly, walls of fear broke down. One evening, Mara and Lyra walked through the facility's garden. Flowers bloomed in colors Lyra had never seen. She reached out and touched a bright red flower. "It is beautiful," she said. Mara smiled. "Like new life." Lyra looked at Mara, her eyes full of hope. "Thank you for not giving up on me." Mara took her hand. "You never gave up on yourself." The final step came when Lyra removed the last piece of her past, the broken crown. She held it in her hands, then gently placed it on the ground. "I am not a queen anymore," she said. "I am Lyra, a new person." Mara watched her with pride. "You have changed more than anyone could imagine." Lyra smiled. "And I will keep changing." That night, Mara wrote the last words in her journal. "From fear to hope, from queen to human." Lyra has shown us all that no one is defined by their past. With courage, kindness, and one touch of trust, even the strongest walls can fall. Lyra stood by the window once more. The stars were bright. The galaxy was full of possibility. And for the first time, she did not flinch from the future. She embraced it.